Darren Rovell with Will Stern here to do our auction recap from the weekend. Let's start with the Jordan logo man. Sells for $2.9 million, the highest uh, price paid for a Jordan card ever. I get so confused what's private, what's not. Of course, we had the 4 point whatever Luka Doncic, which then became the $3.1 million Luka Doncic. Um, I know people in the card space, Will, told me that they thought this might have been a little high. We've talked about this card forever from, 2003, but this is the ultimate. This is the ultimate. And I personally don't get it, where it's from a random, likely, potentially Wizards jersey. And I don't get the idea behind the card, but it's pack pulled, signed by Jordan, and this has become, $1 million card. Your thoughts on the sale?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the allure has to come from the fact that nobody knew where it was for like 20 years. And then it rolled into PSA headquarters along with the Kobe one of one, I think last year or the year before that. So I think that that nature of like having sought after a card, knowing it's out there, and then it's surfacing at auction for the first time
Yeah,
is
and
the
when by the
thing
way,
that
when
really
this
attracts the money.
yeah, and by the way, when these cards first came out, these were worth an eye-popping $15,000. So, just to obviously over time and how the card world developed. Again, I'm not going to say much more, but I don't understand it, especially as, game used gets bigger. The whole jersey, the jersey from the exact game, I think that's more important. Okay, I want to go on to another Jordan card, which to me was even crazier, which is the 86 Fleer rookie, which sold for $292,000. Now, we know that it sold in January 2021 in Golden for 738,000. The whole speculation behind that was it wasn't a marketing move that collectors had bought Golden. It was merely that people were sensing that they were starting to run out of them. We know there's 323 PSA 10 Jordans. That was never the case. Went all the way down to probably around 130,000, but it has been climbing back up to 200,000. Your take on the move from the last sale of 216,000 up an additional $75,000, $76,000.
So I think we've got a couple of options here, right? One is that it was in the Golden 100, which got a lot of buzz and I assume attracted bidders that normally aren't playing in this market, right?
Okay,
So
I don't buy that. What's your next one?
I'm well, all right. Let me. The other thing would be, uh,
Jordan Star
I,
card? Are you thinking Jordan
no,
Star card?
I
Because
honestly,
someone
I was
someone
trying to
told
think of
me,
a
oh,
way
it's
to
the
say this
Jordan
as
Star
well.
card. The Jordan Star card got 925, and
I
now it's just, everyone's in love with Jordans. And then the third theory, and you tell me if this makes sense. The third theory I heard was, ooh, Jordan signed a bunch of these cards. Maybe someone thinks, hey, I can get him to sign a couple tens for me.
I haven't heard that. I mean, what unless the buyer is the same person who got hooked up with that signing, I mean that's
Or people
pretty
who are
cool.
close. There are people who are close enough to Jordan who need a couple PSA 10s because Jordan's going to sign him for free now that
But
they
you
know
can get them
those
for
things are
cheaper.
worth a
That's
million
the thing.
dollars. Well, I'm just saying those people might be non-sophisticated ones. So I don't
I would chalk this up to price protection,
know. Okay.
put it
Okay.
nice.
Which I want to keep talking about in the future. Price protection, for those of you who don't know, is just the idea that there's guys that have 5, 10, 15 Probstein, and they want to just make sure that they want to make sure that everything is protected. Talk to Rick Probstein, by the way, who owns the most of them, I think, or with his network of people. He said he didn't know either where this was going. Let's move on to consoles. The 1986 Nintendo Entertainment System deluxe set with the robot and Gyromite. sells for 75 grand. I love consoles. I love how big they are. I love the odds of them still being sealed. Your thoughts?
So I've actually got some news for you, Darren.
Ooh,
I bet you didn't know that there was a population report on this.
I did not know where to find it, but
So
potentially someone was saying there was.
yeah, so VGA had rolled it out recently and it was quite difficult to figure out, but they seem to have gotten it down pat. So the
So important for the
absolutely.
future.
I mean, it clarifies and changes the entire market for this stuff. So there are six of these at grades VGA 85 and 85 plus combined. This is one of them, as was the previous sale at Heritage about 6 months ago.
That was the 120.
That was the 120, which is the record for any console that was ever commercially available. Um, So I mean, now knowing that this is one of the highest graded, there's none higher than 85 plus, and there's only 11 total. That
Like the
should,
sale. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that should give people some confidence, rather than thinking, boy, how many of these are just sitting out there that haven't sold? Are there some higher? This is now kind of regulating it in the same way that we see in the card market, let's say, where it's really easy to know exactly how many there
Right.
are and what you're dealing with.
Let's wrap it up with the moon shoe. We didn't really have this in our preview. Miles Nadal, the Canadian entrepreneur who has decided to do a ton of shoes and cars, and now, for whatever reason, hopefully one day we get that story, liquidating everything. He bought the moon shoe, which is the famous kind of first Nike swoosh shoe, the waffle iron. That story, first waffles built by Bill Bowerman, Nike co-founder with Phil Knight. Nadal bought him for $437,500 in 2019. Whenever you're going to do a flip out of willy-nilly and it doesn't really make any sense, you're probably going to lose money. These sold for 303,000. I thought 306,000. I can't believe it got that. The promotion was honestly terrible. It didn't stand on its own. It was in a whole bunch of things that were being auctioned off. So I'm surprised it got 306,000. And then you also think about as a buyer, as a seller, whatever, what's gone on. He bought him the week the moon landing, 50th anniversary of the moon landing, the 50th anniversary of Nike is gone. Maybe the 50th anniversary of Pre's death next year. I don't know, but 50 is a big number, and there's a bunch of 50s that are gone. I also think that it's a little bit exclusionary, what this item is. It's actually held up pretty well over time. Your thoughts on the number, and the discount from 437 to 306?
I mean, I think we're going to see a discount for any flip over that time period in the sneaker world. We've seen
Too
it
short, yeah.
with airships. But as for the moon shoes, I think it's taking Jordan out of things. It is the most important sneaker that's ever been made, and the story behind it with the waffle iron, it's iconic. Nike's not going away. There was just the Air movie, the legend of Phil Knight, and everything it will continue to perpetuate. And I think it's a solid result, and I think it actually is a testament to the importance of these sneakers that in spite of this kind of odd auction where it was lumped together
Mhm.
with a bunch of other
People
sneakers,
found it. Yeah, people.
cars and movie posters, like if there's a moon shoe out there, somebody's gonna find it because it matters that much. So
Yeah.
I think that we saw that with this one.
Darren Rovell and Will Stern with Collect TV and your auction review. We'll get to you on Thursday for the auction review.